Hello, Hope. All right, everybody. It's 2 o'clock, so Venerable Robina should be arriving in a moment now. Just another reminder, if you haven't heard this already, we prostrate after she sits down instead of with her.
Well, it looks like it's gonna rain.
Oh, Lisa, you're talking. Sorry. Oh, yeah. So, okay, here's something. At the very end today, we will do an appreciation mandala for Venerable Robina. And I'll need to make sure Robbie's here. And then that will be followed by the long life prayer, her long life prayer. And there's little half sheets out there outside the Gampa door that has that. And then the flip side has, what does the flip side have? Okay. Yeah. So we'll start with the short mandala and then flip to the other side at the very end. Mhm. Venerable Robina has arrived. Okay.
Hi, people on Zoom. Hi, everybody. So let's conclude our little discussion about the six perfections, which was preceded by a bit of a discussion of bodhicitta, which was preceded by a discussion of the wisdom wing, which was a prelude to that. Need to qualify with that so we get the big picture clear, you know. So we first looked at the very first stages, the teachings we share with the Hinayana path, which is the first scope and the second. So that's the teachings, the wisdom wing, the first part of the wisdom wing, the development of renunciation, the renunciation of what? My suffering and the causes of my suffering, which is my actions and my delusions. All of that part is dealt with that. So control the body, control the speech, and then eventually control the mind. Some renunciation comes, some giving up of suffering comes, which incidentally brings more happiness and fulfillment. And kind of loosens the grip of ego grasping, and also kind of diminishes the barrier that ego has created between self and other. Then you get to the compassion wing and you go, my God, we're all in the same boat. I must keep practicing, and now in order to be to benefit to others. So you continue the practice of practicing the morality of refraining from harming, but in a more sophisticated, nuanced way based on the bodhisattva vows, which implies that the motivation is the key point now. And this gives us, and this is making our decisions on the basis of what's best for the other person. The wisdom wing is, the very first one is what's best for ourselves, to protect us from suffering. Here now we're coming on more subtle, more nuanced, more advanced, supposedly. And then we get, and then we achieve bodhicitta, go through those stages, equanimity and the others, and culminate with bodhicitta, this outrageous shift in the mind, where finally only others are our concern. We've done with I, done with self. Haven't realized emptiness yet, but in terms of the attachment and self-cherishing, we've eradicated those pretty much, So now others are more important. And now the next stage is the six perfections. And if you're on this path and you actually achieve that level, then now life after life after life after life, you're perfecting the compassion wing, which is the first four. Generosity, morality. Now finally in morality, up until now we've been practicing the morality of refraining from harming. Now we add to it the morality of benefiting, because we've got enough wisdom not to make a mess. And then patience, and then this incredible characteristic of effort, joyful effort, this supreme self-confidence that it is possible and that you want to do it. This is the necessary one, perseverance, opposite to laziness. And then we get to the next one, which we didn't really touch on this morning, but we mentioned it. The fifth and the sixth are the perfecting of the wisdom wing. And they're done on your cushion. So that's roughly the first one, which is the achievement of single-pointed concentration, specifically the achievement of calm abiding, a certain level of samadhi. And the technique is known in terms of its result, described roughly speaking in 9 stages of cultivation. But the key point here, the key points in the development of concentration is it's the gradual eradication of the two extreme states of mind. One, which is the result of attachment, is berserk, as they call it, excitement, the mind being berserk, uncontrolled, berserk, as Lama Yeshe calls it. The gradual, each step of the way, it's the gradual subduing of that one. And the other extreme, which is, they call dullness. So the concentration is gradually cultivated in terms of the gradual lessening and eventual cessation completely of these two extremes, excitement and dullness. They're like extremes. And we're trying to find this powerful point where there's neither berserk excitement nor demented, dull, thick, ignorant dullness. So the key points of states of mind that are mentioned in this development are, again, you paying attention to the object of concentration. And here, this is the point now, in special insight, the sixth one, it's using the technique that you get in the fifth one, but here, the object of concentration isn't the breath, that's external, it's too gross. But it would be emptiness, but in the special insight, the sixth, by definition, it is insight into emptiness. We need insight into karma, we need insight into impermanence, we need insight into bodhicitta, we need insight into everything. But this last one, special insight, is insight into the final way that things exist. So you have to conquer this berserk, the tendency of the mind to be berserk, out of control, attachment energy, or the other extreme, dullness. And this is it demands enormous effort. And they say, and Pabonka talks about in the text, the prerequisites to even be ready to try to get concentration are already tremendous. I remember interviewing Venerable Rene, one of our monks who, from first hearing the teachings, knew his path was to go straight to meditation. Amazing. So the last 45, 50 years, he's been spending in serious professional meditation, coming and going. He's in full-time meditation, teacher sometimes too. But he said there's no way on the planet. I interviewed him in about 95 about a retreat he'd done at Ursaling, the center in Spain in the Sierra Nevada, near Granada, a place called Place of Clear Light, FMT Center, started by the parents of Lama Ursel. I mean, his reincarnation, he was born down the road, so he was called after that, Ursel, Clear Light. And he did his retreat there. His Holiness blessed it in 1982. He said it was beautiful, reminded him of Tibet. It's very special, So Venerable Rene did his two and a half, I think, year retreat there, attempting to get single point of concentration. He said there's no way in the world he was prepared to qualify to even go there to begin, to think about this, to have all the conditions in place, external and internal, for you to go to one place and with the thought of being there for 1, 2, 3 years and to do nothing else but practice focusing meditation. I mean, after one day we are exhausted. After an hour, after 5 minutes we're tired, Why? Because our lives are full of dramas and things and sex and drugs and rock and roll and mortgages and dogs and worries and fears and, and then the attachment to this food and that food. So just to be qualified, there's a series of things that Pabonka Rinpoche talks about. The qualifications to be ready to go to the mountains, to seriously be focusing on meditation, concentration. So one is to have absolutely no interest in any you couldn't care less about what food you eat. Everyone on the planet, all our favorite information is the nutrition information on the back of the packet, I mean, we're all beyond neurotic, in the way we are now so fussy with food because we're all deluded with respect to us. I mean, you once would ask for a cup of coffee. People know what you're talking about now. Excuse me. What a dumb question. Like, give me a piece of string. Excuse me, a bit more detail, okay? So we know that. So we have to be no attachment to food, no attachment to sex, drugs, video games, rock and roll, what people think of you, houses, possessions, your body. I mean, think of it. You're already going to be renounced before you get anywhere near getting concentration. Because why? Because it's not possible to seriously go into this kind of meditation if you've got all these things to worry about. It's just totally impossible. It's absurd. And then he said, even when he was ready, he said, first of all, he said, no way in the world he could have been ready to do this if he hadn't been a monk, living in vows, doing lots of purification, studying for years, and even teaching. And then he was ready, finally. And then he said, it takes months to begin to calm your mind down, to stop thinking of all the things that we think about every day. Months to even be ready, to have the mind to be even not going on to all the objects we think about. So it's incredibly advanced. And then he said, I think he spent 2.5 years, I can't remember. He said he maybe got to the 5th of the 9th stage, And he said a couple of things, many things he said, but one thing he said, the Buddha's deal is this. Buddha's deal is this mind of ours, which he discovered from doing those Hindu techniques and accessed his own mind and there's incredible levels of mind. Lama Yeshe talks about in Mahamudra that beginning to even get some concentration, you can't even imagine the brilliance, the clarity, the vastness of your mind. He said, it's as if you count every atom in the universe. And the other thing they say, the natural quality of the mind as it gets more subtle, because it's getting less deluded and less and the sensory is beginning to cease, is incredible bliss. Lama uses the words rapture, ecstasy. I mean, that's hilarious. That sounds like a sin. It's because we've got to realize the Buddhist view of the mind is its natural state. The degree to which it is unencumbered by the grosser sensory and the delusions, the degree to which it is unencumbered by the senses and the delusions is the degree to which it is blissful, happy, naturally. And the bliss, the rapture, the ecstasy, the pleasure, the joy, the happiness, these are all, broadly speaking, referring to the same thing, pleasant feelings. They're peaceful. because there's no attachment. So we can see the pleasure that is triggered by contact with attachment objects, the cake or the handsomest body on the planet. As Lama Yeshe says, it's berserk. It's a very good way to put it. But when the mind is no attachment and you've gone beyond the senses and you've accessed a subtle level of your mind, it is utterly joyful. I think it's so important to hear this. You know, this is our potential. Incredible. So he said something like that the joy his mind experienced was superior to any joy he had ever experienced through his senses. I mean, that's very powerful to hear. You know, it's incredible. That's our natural state. That's our mind. You don't learn that in neuroscience, with respect. You do not learn that with your psychologist and your therapist. This is the Buddha's view of the mind. It's amazing. So encouraging. So the various prerequisites also that about the place you do it is very important. It needs to be a place that's quiet. It needs to be a place without many wild animals and noises of rivers and things. It's got to be very peaceful. Subtle, kind of the quiet external elements, so important. When Lama Zopa was finally given 500 acres of land near Big Sur in California, way up in the mountains, it takes weeks, days to walk, hours to even walk there. He said even the birds were quiet, you know. But what's interesting, this place was so holy, Ursa Ling. But Venerable Rene, when I interviewed him in Kopan Monastery a couple of years later. Now, if anybody's been to Kopan, it's a busy place. It's on a hill in this blessed valley that the Tibetans adore. They say it's blessed by all the holy beings. But when we see it, we just see this polluted, dumpy place. And Kopan is very up on a hill, but you hear all the dogs barking and all the Hindus singing their songs at 4 a.m. and praising Shiva with speakers, you know, blessing everybody. So it's busy, but this is what I found very powerful. One of the crucial qualifications of a place that's good to retreat, to meditate, to get concentration, is been blessed by the presence of other holy beings in the past, as well as the Buddhas, you know. And he said what he found very surprising and very interesting. At Kopan, way more busy than Ursa Ling, his mind became more subtle, more easily. That's very powerful. Because he said in the Ursa Ling, he got to the 5th stage after a few months, but he knew he couldn't get further. And he said it was because you see, when your mind gets more subtle, it means less sensory, more mental, but conscious, you know, not asleep. Then you're very sensitive, incredibly sensitive. This is why I think dying people, they talk about, Lama Zopa talked about, it's very important to remember if you're trying to help dying people. When you're dying, your sensory is gradually ceasing and you're getting closer to your subtle mental consciousness. Do you understand? So then you're incredibly sensitive to the slightest noises, which is why I think hospitals are the worst place to die. Not criticizing kind doctors and nurses. You need to be incredibly quiet, unbelievably quiet, because and he said the slightest shift in the wind was so disturbing for his mind until you're a really advanced practitioner. I mean, Geshe-la Kongtrul lived up in the mountains naked, no food, no sleep, 24 hours a day, meditating. And he kind of made friends with a deer. They'd come and sit in the cave next to him, you know, or the lions and the tigers, you know. I mean, or another holy lama that I heard about, he lived around the wild animals. So most people would be too freaking out. You've got to really choose the place carefully. And then you go through this all day, every day meditating, all day, every day in sessions, following the exact instructions. And you have to persevere. 2-3 years it might take. The greatest practitioners can do it in 6 months, they say. And eventually to the point where you've achieved the 9th stage, where you can just sit, close your eyes, and go straight, effortlessly, to the subtlest level of concentration and stay there as long as you like. Now, the thing about this state of concentration, it sounds blissful in this technique that is necessarily non-conceptual. Then you think, well, what are you doing that for? What's the point? Well, you know what? Now with that, you've accessed, I like to put it, you've accessed the microscope of your mind. Just because you need to access a subtle level in order to realize emptiness. Grosser conceptuality is not capable. You have to have a single point of concentration. You have to access a subtle level of mind, you know, in order to then go to the second mode of meditation and get insight into emptiness. So that'll do about concentration. Let's talk about carry on about emptiness. Talk about emptiness. So remember, the big picture is this. Buddha's telling us from the very beginning that the degree to which we suffer is the degree to which our minds are not in sync with how things exist at the level of impermanence, karma, the mind itself, the delusions, bodhicitta. All of those presentations are Buddha's presentations of what he has seen from his own experience is reality. I mean, if you have a cook who gives teachings on cooking, you would have to hope they know what they're talking about. Do you understand me? You have to hope you do your checking, and you're confident when he says put 2 eggs in, he knows what he's talking about. You'd have to feel that way. He's not asking you to believe it. He's telling you, this is my experience. This is how you make a cake. Well, Buddha's doing the same. So everything from the beginning, like I said, up to this moment, up to the 5th of the 6 perfections, up to the 6th perfection, all of that is conventional reality. That's Buddha telling us how things exist conventionally, and that's your first step. And now it naturally leads to getting to the final way in which those conventional things exist. So when we're on the second scope, and the middle scope, and we learn about attachment and anger and all the branch delusions, that's where, even though the explicit teaching is on the emotional suffering of those states of mind, on the disturbing nature of those states of mind, with the wish that we become fed up with them. But once you start to understand them, and as Wei Lama Zopa teaches all the time, the main quality about them that causes us suffering is that there are misconceptions. All of these emotional states of mind, which are so emotional meaning they hit our body. We know them when the body is involved. But we have to go deep into the mind to get to hear the conceptual stories that inform those emotions. And we're going to see the key characteristic of all the neuroses, all the delusions, all the way to Maripa, the root delusion, is that they are misconceptions. They're in the mind, and they misrepresent to us. They cause the outside world to be misrepresented back to us. So attachment causes the cake to look divine. Anger causes your husband to look ugly. Pride causes you to appear more important than you are. Low self-esteem causes you to appear as hopeless. Each of them has their function. We need to recognize each one, you know. They're the branch delusions. So now we're getting to the root delusion. So in other words, they all, as Lama Zopa says, they decorate on top of what is there characteristics that aren't there. So attachment decorates deliciousness onto the cake. Aversion decorates ugliness onto the person who harmed you. And we go between these especially 1,000 times a day to just various degrees. Each of the delusions, each of the neurotic states of mind has that function. And then the tragedy is, because they're so habitual, bad enough that things appear wrongly to us, but the worst thing is we believe it's true. And the root delusion, amarikpa, causes the delicious cake. Attachment exaggerates the deliciousness. Marikpa, ignorance underpinning attachment, causes the delicious cake itself to appear inherent. That quality of delicious cakeness is in the cake. The quality of ugliness is like ugliness is coursing in his veins along with his blood. It's in the object itself. That's what self-existent means. That's what self-existent means. Existing, as Lamia says, in itself. And I'm this innocent observer seeing this divine cake, begging me to eat it. It's all the cake's fault. And I'm this innocent observer of this ugly person harming me. That's like Lamia, she would say it's schizophrenic. Don't be insulted. That's what dualism is. It's me here, innocent victim me, who plays no role in any of this, and this delicious cake chucks itself at me. Do you understand me? I always remember when I tell this story, when I was a radical lesbian separatist feminist. I began off being, I heard about, first I was a Catholic, then I was a hippie, then I was a communist or something lefty like that. I better not confess to that in this country. Mr. Trump will throw me out. And then I was kind of heard about feminism. I didn't even know the word. Do you understand? Then I heard the right word. Then I heard about radical. Oh, I thought, I'm like that. I'm radical. Naturally. And then I heard about radical. Inevitably, that meant I'd become a lesbian, so I threw out all the boys. Of course I would. I don't go halfway. And then it even became more radical. Just naturally, it went there. It was radical, lesbian, separatist. Do you understand? Like the radical black power people. All white people have got to die, you know. All men have got to die. You don't need them. We lived on a place in Australia for a little bit called Amazon Acres. And even you were 6 years old with a thing between your legs, I'm sorry, you couldn't come. Do you understand me? Anyway, I went all this way. Then from there, what was I saying all this? I can't remember. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, I can't remember. What the hell was I talking about? Extreme. Why was I mentioning it? Please tell me why I mentioned it. I can't remember.
You were speaking about the cake.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Okay, good. But this still doesn't do it for me.
My daughter joined us for a minute.
What? What?
My daughter joined us for a minute. I came to see her.
Oh, good. Okay. Good. But what was I saying? Why was I saying it? Oh, no, I've
Cake.
lost it completely.
Cake.
I have to go back.
You were talking about cake.
Dualism.
Okay. Okay. When I was a radical lesbian separatist feminist living in London, that's right. Okay, my policy at some point when I was in that phase, and I just took things into my own hands. That's what I like to do. And so I decided that any man, then it was easy, men could go around saying you had nice breasts or whistle at you or praise you or insult you. And it was, now you get arrested, so men would not dare do it, I don't think. I'm just being normal here. It's a normal world. So I made a decision. Any man who said anything to me in the street, I mean, I had a nice chest. It was a very pleasant chest, you know. Do you understand me? So they'd say something. I'd walk up to him. I'd abuse him very loudly. I'd punch him. And I'd walk away. And normally I'd be very shocked and embarrassed. But this, and so I was two stories now, sorry. I was quickly say the other one. The other man, one man, I punched him and his fish and chips went flying. And then he started chasing me down the street. So he punched me back. But this is another story now. But that one was very interesting because I knew I'd punched him first. I was really admired his courage because no one else ever did. And I didn't mind. My earring broke, my glasses broke. I thought, well done, you know. But the one I'm trying to tell you about is the shocking one because it's really about attachment. This little old man in Soho in London, said something about my chest or something. And I shouted at him and he nearly burst into tears. And he said, if you don't want me to say anything, why do you look like that? Now, this is not feminism now. It is, but it's not really the point I'm making. That's how something, when it appears as an attachment object, you assume it's there for your benefit. Are you hearing my point? When you see cake and you really attach, all you want is that cake, it's yours, and it's doing it to you. It's so delicious. You have no control. You've got to shove it in the mouth, don't you? Well, these men, mostly men, you know, and I've been a man many times, so it's not personal. When you've got strong attachment to a female form, you assume it's there for your benefit. You see it's your own, you own it. That's the incredible entitlement of attachment. Food is like that, whatever it might be. But when it's human beings, it's a problem. Do you understand my point? So it blew my mind. You know, the poor man nearly cried. And it was so clear what he said. If you do not want me to say something, why do you look like that? It's mind-blowing, isn't it? That's attachment, people. Do you understand me? It's incredible. It's fascinating. Attachment is this huge emotional hunger that's thinks about the object all the time. For cake doesn't mind if you stuff it in, but humans do. Do you understand me? I'll never forget as long as I live. Anyway, that was my point of all the story. I didn't hit him. He would have collapsed and hurt. I just shouted at him, you know. Anyway, that's the thing about attachment. So then back to here. The branch delusions dump onto the object their particular characteristic of deliciousness, ugliness, importance, unimportance, and they're telling the story all the time. But the marigpa, the root delusion, that is informing all of these, it's there implicit underneath. What that causes is the delicious cake itself to appear to be in the cake. Nothing to do with me. Can you hear that point? Can you hear that point? And I'm this innocent victim of it, you know, or that mean person, you know, like, in other words, exactly as Lama Zopa says, most people on the planet have no idea that their mind plays any role at all in our lives, which means I'm this innocent victim and the cake is doing it to me. I'm this innocent victim and the mean person's doing it to me. It's the same problem. Can you hear that? And this is the hugest, this is the root of all suffering. So to get to the point where to even begin to give credibility to Buddha's view that no, Robina, that appears that way because of your mind. It's like the opposite. It's mind-blowing, you know. It's mind-blowing, and it's incredibly hard to do it because we're addicted to the opposite view. That's the samsaric view. So it's intense. This is the cause of suffering, Buddha says, because things aren't like that. They don't exist like that. Okay, so yesterday we talked a bit about the different ways of seeing, you know, especially using the word emptiness. I want to remind us of that. When we think about realizing emptiness, we have this assumption that it means nothingness, then we're in big trouble. We don't comprehend it, you know. But if we recognize that emptiness means emptiness of existing inherently, emptiness or absence of inherent existence, it's still abstract. But when we realize, when we look back to the point that when you cognize things, the mind always cognizes, this is my words, the mind cognizes everything as nouns, as things, people, events, things, actions. So when we say, oh, my cup is empty, my cup is empty. So finish the sentence, oh, my cup lacks tea. We get that, right? And this is an extra point that is very important. If you walk into the, we call it crockery in Australia, where you buy cups and saucers. When you walk into the crockery shop, you don't say, oh, mummy, the cups are all empty of tea. You don't say that. You know why? Because you don't expect tea. So this is a really major point. If you go to your bank account, Robbie goes to his bank account and he sees he's expecting $5,000, but there's nothing, or there's 47, whatever it is. What he doesn't see the 47. He gets a shock and he sees the absence of what he expected there. If you go, like I said, if you go open the drawer and you're rushing off to the front door and you get to open the door expecting your car keys, but they're not there. What where are my car keys? What you just observed is the phenomenon called the absence of car keys. You've got to get this point. Then it makes sense, the usage of the words. You know, it's abstract, but it's helpful. And we are cognizing absences all our lives, but they're unhappy ones. When you're lonely, all you see in your house is the absence of a husband, you know, isn't it? Or if Robbie leaves me for a younger version, and you've never heard of Robbie, and you come to visit me in my house, and all I see is the absence of Robbie, he's so lonely and sad, you'd never in a million years observe the absence of Robbie, because you've never heard of Robbie. Can you hear the point? So it is abstract, but it's meaningful and powerful. So Buddha's saying, since beginningless time, we've got this root delusion, marikpa, this ignorance, and not only doesn't know the reality of something, but believes the wrong story. So it's double trouble ignorance, you know. And we believe this life is so long it even appears that way. So it's why it's puzzling. So as Lama Yeshe says, emptiness of inherent existence of this cup is not hiding. It's naked. It's right there, but we can't see it. Because our mind, ignorance, is projecting its own junk onto it so busily we can't see the truth, you know. That's how they talk, right? So the king of logic to prove emptiness is dependent arising. So what we have to do is this. So in your meditation, so using in the classic the two meditation techniques in one session, what you do is you'd go to your cushion, you'd go to whatever level of concentration that you've accomplished, and most of us won't even get to the first unless we do serious retreats on it. Then once you've got your mind to the degree of concentration that you're capable of, you stop the concentration, and now you go to the second mode, and you use that focused level of mind to then the goal, the second mode of meditation, again, known in terms of its result, vipassana, in this case, special insight, meaning into emptiness. Insight's a great word in English. You say, oh, I thought of this problem. I worked out my problem and I got a bit of insight into it. It's a really good word. It means when something becomes experiential, you kind of get it experientially. I think it's a great word, insight. Don't mystify it. So the goal of the second mode of meditation is to finally get insight into emptiness. The first mode is merely concentration, no discursive thought, no conceptuality. And you're training your mind to get focused. You bring that focused mind, because once you've got that focused mind, you've got to remember this, you don't just space out. It's super, super, super capable of really subtle, sophisticated analysis. And analysis is absolutely vital tool, because you're now going to use that focused mind to do this analysis in the second mode. So the goal is to get insight. But the method you use to trigger the insight, they call it analytical meditation. So remember, I said this morning, the word in Tibetan for to meditate means to familiarize. Already we're confused. So it means, in this case, familiarizing your mind with, in this case, what? Emptiness. But what do you use? This is such an important point. In this classic 2 types of meditation in one session, and understanding the methodology, the method called analytical meditation, you utilize basically thinking. You're using thinking, but the subtler your concentration, the more sophisticated and subtle and clear is the thinking. So thinking is the method you use to think through dependent arising. And then at some point, it will trigger, an aha moment. Oh, I see. Even listening now, even talking, we're listening. This is the grossest level. You'll hear some words, you've heard them 57 times. I've been saying some words, I've been saying them 57 times, and the 58th time I go, oh, I see. You understand my point? That's the methodology we're using at a very gross level here to get some semblance of insights into the meaning is thinking. So you get concentration in the first mode, no thinking. You focus, you train your mind to be laser-like and therefore more subtle. Now you use that concentration, you go to the second mode, and then you've had your class today. You've been, you had your class about dependent arising, or you're seriously in retreat on trying to realize emptiness. So you've done all your history, all your study, you've got all your books, all your study, and you've got the information in your mind. While you're in subtle concentration, you can't open a book. You have it in your mind, stored there. And now you do the analysis. So the first part of the second mode of meditation, you use intelligent thinking. Analysis is just a Greek word for, I think, to think about. But not like think about, I think about something, your mind goes berserk. But think like you learn if you're learning math. It's exactly the same. You first listen to your teacher tell you that 1 + 1 is 2. You go home, you've got to get some focus. Otherwise, you can't think it through. Then you take your block, so you get the info, but you've got to have the first. Okay, crucial point is you've got to have the right words. You've got to have the word 1 + 1 = 2. If you have any other words you can think about till the cows come home, nothing will ever you'll never get an insight because it's wrong words. So concepts are majorly important. Don't think they're not. This is how we learn music or anything else. You learn the right thoughts, the right theory, the right recipe book. Robbie's got about 4 million recipe books. He checks the recipe and he does exactly what the recipe book says. And he puts 7 eggs instead of 2, he knows there's a problem. So you have the right words first. So you've got that information in your mind, you've got your focus, you go to the second mode, and now you use intelligent thinking. And that means not just 1 + 1 is 2, 1 + 1 is 2, 1 + 1 is 2, hoping for the penny to drop. That's stupid. You have to know what 1 means, and plus, and equals, and you slowly put these concepts together until it's coherent. Oh, mummy, I get it. That's an insight. Same with dependent arising or any other logic you use in subtle meditation, and will then treat, and because your mind's focused, because your mind's very capable at a very subtle level of very sophisticated conceptuality, which is what you need to use. And then it'll trigger that insight. The second it triggers the insight, you stop the analysis and you stay focused on it. Then the insight goes and you go a bit deeper and a bit deeper. So eventually when you become a yogi and you get single point of concentration and you get like a certain level of that stages of insights, you know, you can stay there for 7 hours on that insight. And it gets deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper until one day, first time ever since beginningless time, you have a direct, non-conceptual insight into the fact, the truth that is naked to you, that there never has been, isn't, and never could be an inherent I, which is what you believed since beginningless time. That's your first moment of a genuine realization of emptiness, and you can't lose it from there. Are we communicating here? Okay. So let's look at other things about emptiness then. So there's a different, the different reasonings. Like I said, the very first one is cause and effect. The very first dependent arising that Buddha teaches is cause and effect, which is already fantastic. And karma is a great example, because the more you abide by the laws of karma, way back in junior school, which is that I'm the cause of my own suffering and I'm the cause of my own happiness, then you start to become accountable. You start to grow up. You stop feeling like a victim. You start feeling less separate from things. You start to realize, you know, due to your past actions, you've got these tendencies. And so you start to become more grown up and therefore less suffering. And that is already beginning to loosen the grip of ego grasping. Then the second one, which we began to look at, the bit about parts, you know. And that's not the grossest one yet. That's not the subtlest level, the subtlest, but it's such a good analysis. Believing, the first one is believing there's a separate I, believing there's an I that runs the show, believing there's a little boss in there. Everybody feels that. And this is what we're discussing, you know. If you look at, like we discussed about IKEA, it's a good example. IKEA has built a table and then they pull it apart and they put the pieces in the box. So we know they know exactly each component, isn't it? They know exactly each component that is needed. When you put them together, it functions as a table. We know that. So each part plays everything that exists, remember, it has to have a name and a function. And you agree upon it, and now we can establish that it exists. So everything that exists has to have a function. So that's why we believe in things that don't exist, all these conspiracy theories and this and that and he and she and they and what and where and how. We're just talking gobbledygook, you know. So everything that exists has parts. And if the parts are all working nicely, it will function well. If parts are not working properly, it won't function. It won't therefore fit the definition of being a cup or a computer or a me. So me, a person, has millions of parts. Look at this. And the parts are the body and the mind. And then the body has millions of parts and the mind has millions of parts. So pretending IKEA has built a me, broken them all down, put them in the box, and you have to construct. So this is a really helpful exercise. It's the opposite of the one they tell us, because IKEA didn't exist back then. You know, you pull apart the parts. You take the grown me, you take the table and you pull it apart. You take the person and you pull the pieces apart, looking for that special, separate little me. Convinced it's there. And if it is, you will find it. So the thing about that is, therefore, if everything that exists has a function, if everything that exists is defined by its function, then you have to ask the question, what's the function of an I? If we think there's a separate self, what's its job? What does it do? What does it do that the other parts don't do? So why do we need a separate self? Has anybody got any suggestions? What does it do? What's its job? I'll tell you what we all say. It runs things. It makes decisions, doesn't it? Well, because we say the words, I am picking up a cup. So we think the I is the boss, and then the fingers and the bits and pieces do their job. I'm walking down the street. We think the legs will then do what the I wants. That's how we think. Well, you've got to analyze that. Buddha's telling us there isn't a separate I, and anyway, you don't need one, because all the parts do their job to function as an I. So even a cup, it's the same principle. A cup is very simple. We say, my cup, forget the handle, okay? My cup has a base. My cup has side, you know? So that's 3 nouns, remember? Cup, sides, base. So let's analyze it. Let's look for the 3 pieces. 1, there's the base. We put it there. 2, we take the sides and we put them there. And forget there's no handle. So what's left is nothing. So what is a cup? Go to the final conclusion. Cup is merely the name out of convenience that we use for the combination of the sides and the base. Well, Robina is the convenient label we use to refer to the parts, the body and the mind. So, is there an I? Yes, there is. But not all it is yes, there is an I. Yes, there is a cup. But not a separate piece. It's like the boss, you know. It's merely the name. It's merely labeled. So it's not very satisfying to hear this. It sounds kind of boring and it almost sounds a bit simple. So clearly the meaning is more subtle, you know. So now that leads us to the second and the real argument, the real one, that is more subtle, is that we believe all of this is equivalent to the I. That I is the same as the parts. I and parts are the same. I is the parts. As Lama Zopa says, the label can't be the base. The label can't be the base. The base means, in this case, the body and the mind. For the cup, it's the clay, the base and the sides. So the label can't be the base. That's the object to be negated. That's what they say. So as Rinpoche uses many examples, you know, he'll talk about when you first learn to read the alphabet, you know, on a blackboard or a whiteboard. I would have been a blackboard. I suppose these days must be, or whatever it is, or probably iPads now. But let's say the teacher wrote on the backboard, she put, you know, 1 line that way, 1 line that way, and a 3rd line in the middle. So she puts it on there and she says, that is A. Now, you didn't know that before. So one of the arguments already for the A not being there, we say there is A, and what we mean by that is those 3 lines and A are equivalent. But if they were, this argument goes, if those 3 lines are synonymous with A, if I is synonymous with the parts, meaning the same thing, then why would you say the A has 3 lines? That's like saying the A has an A. And this seems like this seems abstract and unnecessary and just being clever, but this is the type of analysis that we have to do to break down the primordial misconceptions that we don't even know we have. That just sounds like a game when we say these words, you know. If those 3, also the other one is, if those 3 lines were in their bones A, then when you see them, if it was self-existently A, just by seeing it, you would know it is A. And you know that's not true. I have this, you know, I have a copy of the some of the Prajnaparamita written in Tibetan on my wall. And I don't speak Tibetan. Even when I've been editing this book and all this Tibetan in it, I see these pretty shapes, you know. I still don't remember what piece is what. I have no idea. It's pretty shapes. So, I mean, all those years I've been looking at those shapes. I have no clue what they refer to because I haven't learned it. So the lines, what they say is, when Michelle says it's like this, in the very beginning, when you don't know it's A, you learn that is A. And already you're doing okay. You haven't made much mistake yet because you see the lines and you have to remember, oh, that's A. It doesn't come naturally yet. But as soon as it starts to come naturally, you forget that you were the one who decided it's called A. Oh, your teacher told you and you started buying into her view, but you forget that you decided it's called A. So, but you forget that and then you think now, oh, that's A. Nothing to do with me. Nah, it's like the cake. Nothing to do with me. No, it's just delicious. A, oh, it's just an A. Nothing to do with me. It's just, that's an A, you know. We called it A. We decided it's A. We called it delicious. We decided it's delicious. Where's delicious? We make it up. Everything exists like that, they say. Which is not nihilism, which doesn't mean you can just call it, you know, it doesn't mean you can call anything anything. It's got to be very rigorous. A cup is a thing that holds your tea. An A is the first letter in the Roman alphabet. You can't just say it's ooh-ah. So conventionally they're stable. It conventionally stays stable. So the trouble with the two truths for us is we hear that things exist conventionally and we hear that they also exist, there's an ultimate existence. So what happens is as soon as we hear the I is empty of existing from its own side. The A is existing empty of existing from its own side. The A doesn't exist from its own side. It doesn't come from the A. It comes from the mind. But then we think, oh, well, it's all made up by the mind. Anything goes. No, you still got to posit an A first that does function as the first letter in the Roman alphabet. So it kind of sounds like contradictory, you know. Make up your mind, Buddha. Is there an A or not? Our trouble is we're so concrete, we think there's no A, then we think, oh, thank God there is an A, grasp. So this one over-exaggerates the A-ness, and this under-exaggerates, oh, there's no A, might as well kill myself. So we've got to bring these two truths together and practice thinking. Whenever you hear dependent arising A, you think, haha, Robina, that means it is empty of intrinsic A. And every time you hear about emptiness of intrinsic A, you go, haha, that means it's dependent arising A. You bring the two truths together, then you're on the right track. Then you won't fall into the abyss of the great mistake. Any questions here?
So glad you're here.
Good, darling.
Okay.
I've still got my plackets.
Oh, yeah, good. They haven't worn out.
They haven't worn out. They're really good.
All right. So using the IKEA example.
Yeah.
And using the statement that, okay, all the bits and pieces have a function. Each thing that's in the IKEA box has a specific function.
Yeah, that's
Correct?
right. Exactly.
Okay.
Then
if we can negate the idea that the function of I is not to run the show, then is the function of I to be, in the IKEA example, to be a label that says IKEA table once you have put it all together?
yeah, okay, that's fine. It's a merely yeah, it is a table conventionally that has no inherent existence as a label. It's a label that you won't find an I in here. You won't find a separate table list. So make it the I. It's an easy one, and you have on that warning. You don't expect a separate piece called an I because you don't need one. That will be the warning on the IKEA box. But it functions. But all the pieces together, all the dependent arising bits of pieces together function perfectly as an I. That's the point.
Okay.
So there is an I, not from its own side, but it's as Namazopa says, I and the parts have an intimate relationship. I is not the parts, and the parts is not the I, but you cannot separate I from parts, because the parts belong to the name I is a label you put upon those parts. So when you be this very literal way, when you study what exists and what does not, there is a thing called an I, and there is a thing called parts, but you can't separate them. So you can't separate them. They're interdependent, but they're not separate. They're dependent on each other, They're dependent on each other, but they're not separate. That's the thing to think about as well. So therefore that's how the I exists.
Okay. And my second question is this. So if, okay, I hear your teaching, so glad. What I'm confused about is what is it that is actually learning about attachment?
Okay, good. It's your mind.
It's the.
So, okay, good. Let's
it's-
look at our parts. What is it? What is a hand, mummy? It's the thing that holds things. What's your mind, mummy? It's the thing that thinks about things. It's your mind that does it.
Okay, it's the mind.
The mind.
And the mind is what keeps on going and going.
Sorry, what?
And the mind is what keeps
Well,
on.
incidentally, it happens to be the mind continues, yes.
It continues, okay.
Yeah, but so you got to assign a job to each part. So mind in general is what thinks. So then you go, well, what part? Let's look at the parts of the mind. Well, attachment exaggerates deliciousness. Anger exaggerates badness. Love wants others to be happy. Each piece of your mind in general has a function to think. And then each part of the mind does its job, and they all work together for the mind to function properly. And then you combine it with the body, and the body does its job. What's your body is not the mind. Then you've got fingers. They do. Each thing has its function, and they all work together. What's the point? That's the mind and body doesn't. It's remembering. Having constant attention, concentration, good memory, discrimination, attention, intention, all the bits of your mind are all together working to retain information and practice. If one bit's missing, you're in trouble. You see what I'm saying? Yes, go, yeah. It's very analytical, very, very precise. We're very general with our terms, you know? Where's the microphone? Give him the microphone. Oh, you? Okay, go, darling. Go.
Hi. So I'm a little confused. I feel that I exist.
You do?
Practically, I exist.
Yes.
And I feel that I am different than my body.
Okay,
And
good.
I feel I'm different than my mind.
Absolutely.
And I feel I'm different from my psychology.
Well, your mind is psychology, darling. Keep it simple.
Okay.
So, but there's an assumption in this statement. There's a third component called I. That isn't the body and isn't the mind. You said that. So, but there's an assumption then that there is an I that you're agreeing isn't the body and isn't the mind. But are you asserting it's something you can point to separate from the body and mind? Not separate. You're saying that.
So do you, or does the Buddhist tradition think that I exist somehow? Do I have an eternal existence somehow? I'm different than a body, I'm different than a mind, and I'm attempting to realize that.
We're talking about the word you're using. You said the word I, okay? You said the word I, right? And so in a simple sense, we what's your name? Sorry. Who? Kyle. Kyle, okay. So we can say that Kyle is the label for this particular I. No problem. Without any analysis, Kyle is sitting in a chair. Kyle is wearing a yellow T-shirt. Kyle has got his glasses on his chest. Kyle has got a beard. These are simple, conventional facts. No argument. Do you understand? No. So the problem is, Buddha says, without realizing it, having this marigpa in the mind, this root ignorance, that root ignorance, so subtle, as you say the word I, and you say the word, I have a body and a mind, that ignorance causes an assumption in your mind that there are three pieces there. One is a body, which is not the mind. One is a mind, which is not the body. And there's one is an I, which is also not the body and the mind. So that means you're asserting there is a third component called I. That's your statement. So you're suggesting that.
I'm suggesting that I am something.
No, well, that's too vague. Are you agreeing with my point? You've said, I feel I'm not, the I is not the body. And you said, I feel the I is not the mind. Good, Buddha agrees with you. But then there's a third, so that third word, you are asserting that there is a third thing called I, a third thing called I.
Could I call that a Buddha nature?
No, that's your mind. Your Buddha nature is your mind,
So Buddha nature is,
is a quality of your mind.
I'm suggesting that the thing that I am is both higher than the body and the mind.
No, so the I, you're suggesting there is an I that's higher than the body and higher than the mind. So you're saying there's a third component.
I'm saying that I'm distinct.
No, I know, but you keep saying
I'm
this
just-
word I'm distinct, but I'm trying to get you to see what you're suggesting is.
I'm suggesting that practically speaking, I feel that I exist and I am distinct from the body and the
Okay,
mind.
good. So you're suggesting that there is an I that owns the body and the mind. That's what you're saying.
It's just something that it's coincidental to my current nature, but it has nothing to do with me in the ultimate sense.
I have no idea what those words mean. Can we stick to these words that I'm using here? Because I'm only going to try talk like a Buddhist. I don't know what your views are, but I can only, just wait. I can only do this. So we have to first establish, we don't have to, but I'd like to, and if we can't, we'll let it be. You're suggesting that there is one component called a body, and then there's one component called a mind. Agree so far?
Yes.
And there's a third component called an I. Are you suggesting that? Now,
Yes,
you have to answer that
yes,
question.
yes. I think
Good.
there's something different.
Good. Well, you
Yeah.
agree with the Hindus, it's called an Atman. You agree with the Christians, who call it a soul, and you agree with the other ones, the Jews, who, that's fine, but that's what they say, and Buddha's arguing with that. It's dualistic, he says. So I'm just telling you.
That's fine. I mean, I can accept that. I'm just trying to nail down what the Buddhist position
Well,
of
I'm trying to spend eons of time telling you, and I'm sorry I can't say it better or quicker than I'm saying it, and all I can do is go one step at a time, and you too. So we keep moving with each other.
Right.
How about that?
It sounds great.
So keep.
I'm open-minded to it. I'm just trying to understand your position I come from a different lineage.
I understand that.
Yeah. So, but I'm
What's
just
your
trying.
lineage? May I know your lineage?
Yes, I'm a Hindu. I'm a Hare Krishna person.
Oh, okay, then that's
Yeah.
totally, then I understand exactly what you're talking about now.
But-
now I understand your position.
but-
Perfect. I understand, baby.
So, but like, if you arrive at your Buddhahood, is that not your eternal identity as an I?
Your Buddhahood-
Ultimate sense of I.
Buddhahood Buddhahood is the name given to your mind when it's perfected, when it pervades the universe, no longer delusions left. It has infinite wisdom, infinite clarity. It is omniscient and infinitely powerful. That's the character of your mind. That's the character of your mind.
So I think we're stumbling on the terminology a bit, but so is the mind the supreme portion of?
If you want to compare, if you want to say which is more important than the body and the mind, no brainer. Your mind, your consciousness is who you really are, if you like.
So I think I'm making the distinction between my consciousness and my mind.
No,
My
here, same.
they're the same.
Different words, same thing.
Okay.
Your capacity for cognition, which has the potential to be perfect, a Buddha that could pervade the universe, know everything that exists, and have infinite compassion and power, which is how the Hindus and the Christians will talk about God. But you never, in your words, I think the same as them, you don't become God. That's kind of rude. You maybe join God, but the Buddha says you don't need that. His word for that is Buddha, and that every one of us can become it. But they're not creators and they're not the fundamental source. That's the difference in the discussion. Are we communicating? I'm very happy. Someone else. Yeah, okay, go back there. Yeah, hang on, back there.
We've got
Yes,
so many
sweetheart. No,
questions.
you, come on. You. Go, darling.
So in the IKEA box with my name on it,
Bit louder.
I think microphone.
I know the
needed
microphone's dying.
Yeah. In the IKEA box with your name on it, my name on it.
Yeah.
Is there a part called subtle consciousness?
There's only two parts to I forget your name. I'm so sorry. I forget people's names. I'm so sorry.
David.
Who?
David.
Oh, David, of course. So David is the name, using this language here. David is the name we're using. Keep the mic. David is the name we're using as the label to identify the parts, to identify the name upon these parts in the box. So in that box, there are two parts. There's body and mind. Mind has billions of parts and body has millions of parts. Mind has anger, jealousy, love. Mind has conceptuality. Mind has subtle consciousness. It's one of the components of the mind. It'll be in the box there. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Someone else. Yes, sweetheart.
Could you go over again, form is emptiness and emptiness is form?
All that's telling us is it's an antidote to the tendency that thinks that emptiness is nothingness and dependent arising is somethingness and they're separate. Okay, that's what we tend to think, you know. So when we go back to the point that I made, that the mind cognizes things, and that there are some things that are fairly evident to cognize, like a cup and a flower. There are some phenomena that are more subtle to cognize, like, for example, the emptiness of tea in my cup. We have to first establish that we're not just pretending here, that if you think about it, when you go, oh my God, my cup's empty, technically what we're saying is the name of the phenomenon my mind just cognized is called, the name of it is called emptiness of tea. Can you hear that? So if there were tea there, you could say, my mind cognizes the presence of tea. If there's no tea, based upon my expectation there should well be damn well tea there, I'm seeing the absence of tea. So the thing called, there's a phenomenon called the absence of tea. It's a real, vivid, existing phenomenon. Can you hear that?
Yes.
It's abstract, yes.
Yes.
But stop playing with words. It's real. Yeah. Okay. Now, Buddha's telling us that where does the phenomenon called absence of tea exist? No. Where does the phenomenon called put it this way, where did I expect the tea to be?
In the cup.
Where therefore does the existence of absence of tea exist? In the bloody cup.
I
So
see.
there's a Robina
Mm-hmm.
person. You can hear her shouting. I believe there's a little intrinsic me in there.
Mm-hmm.
And when I'm on my cushion, finally a yogi, I'll get the shock of my life and I will see nakedly for the first time. Oh my God, there's no intrinsic Robina. The name of that phenomenon is called the emptiness of inherent Robina. So where did I think there was an inherent Robina before?
Inside your body.
And the mind.
Mm-hmm.
So where will I discover the emptiness of the inherent Robina?
On your cushion.
In the body and the bloody mind. So wherever you thought the tea was is where you find the absence of tea. Wherever you thought the Robina was is right, not in the sky. There's no Robina there. I don't know where.
I see, yes.
So where you find form, you will find emptiness of intrinsic form. Where you find Robina, you will find the emptiness of intrinsic Robina right there.
Mm-hmm.
So the two truths come together. You kind of one without the other. That's what
Okay.
he's saying.
Okay.
Clear?
For the moment, yes.
That's
Thank
good,
you. Thank you.
okay. That's it, because we think emptiness is some abstract emptiness of nothingness. Wow, there's everything's empty. Wow, 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 everything. Are you listening to me? This is antidote to that. Okay, go. Where are you? Sorry, sweetheart, talk to me.
I have a question. So going back to the IKEA example,
Yes.
it's a very good metaphor. What keeps everything together? All the parts we have. Just forgot screws and things like that. But at the end, it's physical and chemical principles that keep everything together. In the case of
let's go back to what I said about the Vajrayana model, which is the same as the Hindu model, the sophisticated system. The phenomena that exist in the universe are are minds, billions of mind streams, consciousnesses, right? Okay. And then the matter that exists in the universe is made of the four elements. So the fundamental building energy of the entire universe is mind, inextricably linked to its own set of the four elements. So the mind, when it's angry, let's say, so you've got gross consciousness, which is sensory, inextricably linked to the gross body. Then you have mental consciousness, which is more subtle, and that's coursing through the 72,000 subtle channels, the subtle nervous system. And then all those states of mind are linked to their own wind energies, subtle air energy. So whenever you're angry, let's say, that grows the tendency in your mind. It develops the habit to be angry, which you carry on to the future, and at the same time pollutes the wind energies, which then eventually manifests as grosser sickness at the gross level, and then even in turn manifests as the environment we exist in. So all the realms of existence, all the realms, hell beings up to the formless realm, Buddhahood, everything is created first by the mind and impacts upon the elements. So they held themselves together. Everything you think is in your mind, billions of habits and billions of memories in your mind stream, conjoined with all your wind energies, all your physical energies. They're stuck together. So you'd be born as a hell being. You could argue your body is mainly the elements, predominantly fire, and your mind is conjoined with that energy. You can't separate them. And they're created by your mind. And even the physical universe we occupy. So they hold themselves together. They don't need a boss. They don't need a boss to hold them together. The Hindus, they're not what the Hindus say, but the Muslims say that the world is so amazing it needs an architect. Don't need a boss. Don't need a creator. We do it ourselves. The energy of our own karma keeps us together. It's like a group of people. Two people who are enemies. Look at them. You can't separate them. Countless lifetimes of fighting. They're joined together. They don't need someone to tell them to stay together and fight. That's their nature. Do you understand? A little bit. Just a way of saying it.
I think I
What?
I will understand eventually, but as you say, step by step.
Step by, I want to get
Yeah.
rid of step by step, yeah. So go on, yes, sweetheart, you behind, then you over here. Next, darling. Yeah,
Oh,
go.
Thank you for sharing what you have so far. You spoke on enlightenment being a state of the mind, correct?
It's the mind, it's your final potential, and what that looks like, the components of an enlightened mind would be infinite wisdom that sees the minds of all beings. Your mind is completely beyond delusion, so it pervades the universe, nothing holding it back, has infinite power and infinite compassion. That's the qualities of an enlightened mind.
My current understanding is that the mind and the body interexist to form I. So when you spoke that enlightenment was the business of the mind,
Yeah.
when we practice, my understanding is the mind and the body must practice together in some way because they are interrelated. So how can we say that enlightenment is the business of the mind?
It is
without
the mind is the
body
boss. The mind does the main
too?
part, because that mind is inextricably linked to the four elements. When your mind is enlightened, there's also subtle wind there, and that's what enables you to manifest in different bodies to benefit others. That helps you get what they call the Dharmakaya, which is the enlightened mind, and then the Rupakaya, the form body of a Buddha, and that enables you to effortlessly manifest your elements in different bodies throughout the universe to benefit others. So body and mind, in that sense, when you're enlightened, they're virtually the same. You could argue that.
That's very interesting.
But your mind does the work. At this gross level, your body is the servant of the mind. But at a more subtle level, they're inextricably linked. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Are we communicating?
Yes.
Good,
thank you.
okay, great. What else, people? Over here, please. Yes, sweetheart.
Thank you, Venerable.
Good, darling.
Is it correct understanding that because of ignorance,
Closer to the mic, darling.
my mind is misrepresenting the world? So when I experience something or see something as ugly, beautiful, angry, kind, it's not inherent in that. It's
That's right.
It's coming from
Your
my
mind is
mind
causing it to appear that way. And then you believe
because
it.
it's empty.
That's
Okay.
right. But this doesn't mean there's nothing. That's the point. Our mind is calling it ugly. Is calling it a cup.
Yes.
But that doesn't mean there's no cup there. This is the point of
Okay.
putting the two truths together.
Okay.
What your mind is doing is calling it an intrinsic cup. What your mind is
Okay.
doing is calling it, when you say it's a cup, what we're saying really is it's an inherent cup, that the cup's existing there in itself. That's the decoration on top of what is there.
Mhm.
Are you hearing that? So saying the cup, there's no cup from its own side, and saying your mind makes up cup doesn't mean there's not a cup that holds my tea.
Okay.
They're
Yeah.
the two truths we've got to try and put together.
Yes.
As Lama Zopa says, when you realize the emptiness of cup, it's as if there's no cup. But there is a dependent arising cup that functions as a cup to hold your tea. But what does is this is so subtle, it's as if it doesn't exist. Got to put those, that's a nice way of putting it. So we've got to put these two truths together. One doesn't contradict the other. One affirms the other.
Okay. Thank you.
Do you understand? What else? I mean, all I can do is repeat what I've learned, okay? I'm trying my best. I hope I'm not misleading you. And every now and again I say it, I go, oh, that's nice. I like that, I say. Then I keep saying, But this is why I find it so important to learn the words right. You have to learn the words. We know that. If you start talking to someone about IT and you don't know the words, then you won't understand it. But our trouble, because it's religion, I remember one person said to me, oh, I've been thinking about intuition about 30 years and I can't understand it. I said, well, tell me what it is. Well, give me the words, the theory. Oh, I don't know. Well, how can you think about it? It's like saying, you don't know, I've been trying to think about, the number 3 for 30 years. What is it? How do you get there? I don't know. You've got to have the words, people. Don't mystify it. Of course, you've got to squeeze your brain. I've got to squeeze my brain for IT. You understand? Anyway, yes. Yes, sweetheart.
When I do the analysis of trying to find the I, when I get to the mental, you talked about the mechanics of the mind, the mental consciousness part, where you have the conceptions, the thoughts, and the feelings. The part where...
Okay, be more precise. I wanted to say intervene. In the mind, we've got the neurotic, deluded, I-based neuroses, anger, jealousy, all the rubbish. Then we have the virtues, compassion, kindness, wisdom. But this third lot, be more precise, they're different parts of the mind, very precise, each of which has their function, that I call the mechanics, and that they're not virtuous and they're not non-virtuous. So when I said, you said feelings, you're right. All it means is there's either pleasant feeling, unpleasant feeling, or neutral feeling. There's intention, attention, discrimination, concentration, all the bits and pieces that enable you to function, whether you're a murderer or a meditator. So that, just to get clear. So go on.
The part that I feel like is the I is the part, like let's take feeling, for example. The part of the consciousness that cognizes the feeling. That's the part where, when you're doing that meditation and the object is try to find the I, and the part that, so that's what feels.
Okay,
like
what you're suggesting, you're suggesting that one part of the mind could be labeled I. That seems to be the best, closest for you, is what you're saying.
And yes, and so what I'm asking is, how can I break that down?
Okay, good. Okay. Well, the simple argument is if I is feeling, right, then that means they're equivalent. Would you agree with that? Okay. 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 There's 2 words there, right? You agree, 2 words? 2 nouns. One is I and one is feeling. Okay. So what's the function? Okay, good. So let's first step to show the argument. What is the label I? What is the basis of the label I? What is I labeled upon?
I guess
the body and the mind, isn't it?
Yes.
The body and the mind are the parts that we label I. So good. Now, is feeling a part of mind?
It's one of the pieces.
It's one of the pieces of mind.
Yes.
So you're saying one of the pieces of mind is equivalent to the I. Equivalent to the I is the I.
Yes.
So that means your I is the same as feeling. So why would you say my I has a mind? Why would you say my I has a mind if you're saying the I is the mind? You can't have it both. And if the mind is the same as the I, or the I is the same as the feeling, you wouldn't be able to separate them. You would never see 2 phenomena. They're equivalent words. You might as well use them synonymously. So what's the point of that? My I has feeling. I has an I. Now you've got a nose as well. What are you going to do about that one and all the other millions of parts? This one takes time to think. The label can't be the base. Really, I mean, this is a tough one. This is the one that leads to the final conclusion that I is merely labeled. Seeing the I separate is easier, and that's the first one we have to do. The next one is much more subtle, that the I is the same as, and that's where you have to say, if you say, just forget feeling. Let's say you think the mind is the I, and if you want to find a boss, you're going to find the mind, although his point is good. So we say, the mind is I. Well, that means they are equivalent. That means they're inseparable. That means they are synonymous. That means you can't separate them. Then you might as well just say, I have an I and be done with it. What's the point of that? How silly. My mind has a mind. There's no meaning. So, there is an I. There is an I, but not existing from its own side. There is an I, but not oneness with or separate from. And the I is the name out of convenience we give to those parts. And then we say, oh, well, good, I've got parts. No. Your parts is merely a name. You impute upon those parts. Oh, I've got an earlobe. No, everything you point to exists in the same way. They're empty of existing intrinsically. They're empty of existing from their own side. And the more we get used to it, that means they're dependent arising. So the conventional and the ultimate come together. That emptiness, in fact, they say that things exist because they're empty, not in spite of. I'm just saying some extra things here. It's interesting because we're determined to think there must be an I. That's the whole point. Meaning a separate I. Meaning a separate I. We're convinced we have to be, because our language says it. I have a nose. Two things. There are two things. We'll point them out, please. If I say I have a cup and a saucer, you'd call me a liar if you couldn't point them out. And you have to point them out. I, 1, saucer, 2, cup, 3. Well, I have a nose and an ear. Nose 1, ear 2. Where's the I that means that isn't the nose and that isn't the ear? So if these have no relationship. A cup can break, saucer's fine. A saucer breaks, cup is fine. Easy. They're separate and independent. But here it gets closer. There is an ear, there is a nose, but you can't separate them from the I. They've got a dependent relationship. So the I isn't the nose and the nose isn't the I, but you can't separate them. It's a more nuanced way of saying it. You just have to read about it slowly and say it slowly and meditate slowly, and little pennies drop occasionally. That's all I can say, isn't it? That's all you can do. So Hindus, Hare Krishna's posit a creator? He's the creator. So it's the similar idea to the Christians. Is a boss who makes everything. And you're answerable to him.
And Buddha is
He's one of the many
eighth incarnation of the famous 10 incarnations.
No, that's how the Hindus all think.
Yeah.
So Krishna is your boss.
Yes.
And he makes you.
We exist.
Well, you said that.
We exist eternally.
No, but he's not making, he doesn't create you then.
There are 3 primary energies of Krishna: the external, the internal, and the tatastha.
Okay, so what's your relationship I wonder what your relationship to Krishna is.
I'm Krishna's servant.
Okay, so do you become Krishna?
No.
Okay, so you got the typical, that's the view that the Christians and the Muslims. That's fine. I understand. This is a variation of it. Nothing wrong.
Yeah,
good.
So I'm Krishna's servant.
Good.
And there are 3 energies that Krishna has. The external energy, which is the world, the dull matter,
Yeah, sure.
the dull matter, and
Okay.
then his internal energy, which is like the eternal transcendental
I
spiritual
understand. Yeah,
world.
sure. Good. Okay.
And then the tatastha
Okay.
is the marginal, which is like we say the jivas, or the unique individuals.
I see. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Thank you. Very kind.
Yeah. Thank you.
So this is where Buddha diverged. He says, yeah, I diverge from those views. Yes. Sweetheart, go. Give me the microphone, please. Microphone. Oh, you go first. Go.
Thank you so much. I was just hoping to see if my understanding was
Okay,
correct.
go.
So dependent arising helps explain the empty reality of objects. If I then think about absence or absence of something, absence is also created of different parts. So when I break down that idea, I end up with absence of absence, which
That's exactly correct.
which
You are
leaves
correct.
me with conventional existence
You're
of
correct.
objects.
Everything that
Okay.
exists, including emptiness of inherent existence, is made of parts. So everything that exists, including emptiness of inherent existence, is empty. Correct. You understand correctly. Yes. That's right. Exactly. What else, people? So go down.
Trying to make this really very
Yes,
basic for
exactly.
myself. Okay.
Perfect. It should.
So we're defining the I today as mind and body.
Okay, we're defining. No, I never gave the definition of I. I don't even know what it is. But I mean, we can say it simply that it's an
combination?
A person does things. A person. I think it's even to say that a person creates karma. A person, does things, including and mentally does things, creates causes, if you like, which is body and mind.
Okay.
So go
When
on.
we say it's a
So-
combination of the the
What is?
mind and body.
What is?
The I.
No, it can't be. The I is a name given to the combination of body and mind. It's not the
It's
same.
just a label.
It's a name given to that combination.
It's just a label. So for this label is just an easier way to, it helps us communicate.
Yeah, of
Okay.
course.
So when I talk about myself,
That's
I
right.
use the
The term
label
I.
I.
That's right.
When
It's
someone
convenient.
else is talking about
Conventional
me,
language. That's
they
that's
say Lady, Broad,
That's
Lisa,
exactly right,
whatever.
yeah.
So
Right.
these are all just labels.
That's right. So
Okay.
then, conclusion from
Okay.
this? How does it make you feel to know that you're merely a label?
What?
What?
Well,
what difference will it make
I-
to you when you? The real point is, look at the difference. What's the implication of this? So, what do you think the implication of this is?
I'm okay with that. You know, I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, but more than that.
Um,
What if someone punches you in the nose? What'll happen now if you really realize this? What'll
Well,
happen?
that's why I'm here. I need to practice.
No, I know, but what I'm so that's why I like to tell the story about Lama Zopa. I'll tell that story. I've said it many times. It's nice. Rinpoche, as we know, is my Lama and the Lama of the center and everything, and was the boss of the center. Anyway, he was a yogi in his past life, tantric yogi, who went through the whole process of death with complete control, and then due to bodhicitta, reborn as a little boy up in the mountains, Sherpa, you know. And very soon they would recognize him as all his unusual qualities. You know, he remembered who he was. He played games, and he'd play as a little boy. He'd play the game of being a lama, a guru, and he'd like to have mud pie dorjies and mud pie bells and and he'd say all his benefactors were coming to the party, to the puja, and he announced all the names of his past life benefactor. So they figured they better check up on him. So the local lama did this divination and indicated, yes, it seems like he was the reincarnation of the Laudo Lama. So anyway, he was about 8 years old, and he was sent up the mountains to study with his uncle, a monk in a monastery. And he was 8, I think about 1982, maybe 1954 at the time. Yeah, 1952, he's about 8 years old. And he tells about how he saw across the river in this paddock, kind of, like the Sherpas call white people kind of yellow-eyed, or white-haired and yellow. I can't remember one weird thing. And he was interested to meet these people. He hadn't seen them before. So he bought his gift of boiled potatoes, and he went across the rickety bridge and he fell in the river. Well, they're not very deep there, but very treacherous, very strong. So there he is, and this is how he told the story later. He said, the head coming to the surface for air. So already that, I mean, when they look into, do all this analysis and meditation on emptiness and everything, you practice, identifying each piece. It's really helpful for the mind. We say I is everything. We reinforce it every day. I came up for air. I did this. And it's really helpful. They say anger did this and love did that. And you're looking at the pieces individually. It's very helpful. The head came up for air, and he saw his uncle having a panic attack running along the bank, Then he went down in the water because he didn't learn swimming. Comes up again, and then he said, the thought occurred to me. The person known as the Laudo Lama, and there used to be a cave up there where he spent the last 30 years of his past life, he used to store the radishes, I think. So he pulled the radishes out and moved in, and radishes is Laudo, so he's the Radish Lama. He was known as the Radish Lama. So he said, the thought occurred to me that the person known as the Laudo Lama is about to die. And then he said, in his telling the story, I didn't know anything about emptiness, meaning, of course, in that life, he's 8 years old. He hasn't learned any stuff yet, but there was no fear. So the more we study the Buddhist view of the mind and the neuroses, all the garbage stuff of us, it's really true that they're in the nature of fear. Ego grasping, especially when you're nearly attacked, when you're nearly drowning, that's when the vivid fear arises, isn't it? You're really shaking, having a panic. And many times we have panic attacks. It's literally like that, because the delusions in their nature, because they're misconceptions, they are rooted in fear. They're not in reality, not in sync with reality. So their nature is fear, especially the root one. So now I remember Mr. Darwin, I think, who observing animals and people said there is a thing called instinct for survival. And we need it to survive. So he says, when you see all those animals running, they're running because they've got instinct for survival and they're trying to stay safe. And if you're going to drown, you'd have instinct for survival that'll make you come to the surface and give you energy to leap out of the water. Well, Buddha calls that ego grasping. He calls it marikpa. You don't need
You don't need fear to know you're bloody well drowning. Excuse me being Australian. You need intelligence. So a person like him, we have to assume, being a yogi, cut ego, bodhicitta, all these powerful qualities, mind stable, radiant, blissful, undeluded, then there can't be any fear because he's got no ego grasping. So even though he was rushing to the top for air, you'd see a little boy struggling for air, but his mind, this is what's surprising to us, would be peaceful, not bored. Oh, I'm drowning, relaxing. He was probably pretty tense, but it wasn't delusional. There wasn't a panic because there's no concept of a separate I. There's no concept of an intrinsic I. So he's seeing what's going on. He's clear about it. He was trying to get up there, probably driven by virtue, no delusions, which is hard for us to imagine. But there was no fear. So if he had drowned, you see, we think if he didn't have instinct for survival, which Buddha calls ego grasping, maripa, he would have sunk to the bottom of the river going, oh, well, I'm drowning. It doesn't matter. Don't be ridiculous. He had intelligence and clarity and wisdom and kindness and compassion. But if he did drown, his mind wouldn't have been disturbed because there were no delusions left. That's a very good example. Can you hear me? To posit this possibility, because you see, our view of the person in the world, a person, we give equal status to the delusions and the neuroses and ego and the goodness and the virtue. And there's no view in neuroscience or psychology that would even remotely posit that you can get rid of all the delusions. That sounds like mental illness to us. Do you understand, people? Are we communicating? Maybe it's time to finish, right? It needs 30 more minutes is enough. This is intense stuff, isn't it? Yes, Don, go. He's nodding vigorously. Go, Don. One more question, and we can finish with dedication. We'll be done. Go.
So, all right. So it's not emptiness is understanding the emptiness of inherent existence. I got that one. Understanding, sort of conventional reality. Got that one. The two truths. How do we bring, and the goal is to bring them together, literally, so that we can see things conventionally,
Okay,
but simultaneously
empty.
they're emptiness.
That's the practice.
How do what's
the
missing? What makes it
So
glued?
every time you see yourself grasping at your pretty cup, just example. You would say, if you say, oh, well, there's no cup there, you think you're going to become nihilistic and chuck out the cup. That's the problem. Oh, well, it's all empty. You say to yourself, oh, the cup's empty, Don, don't worry about it. Then we say, oh, well, it's all empty. What we're meaning is it doesn't matter. We're already saying it in a nihilistic way. Do you hear my point? We say it nihilistically. That's the mistake. Oh, it's all empty, it doesn't matter. We say it's all empty, it doesn't matter. That's nihilism. That's falling into the abyss of the great mistake. So the way to say it is it's empty of intrinsic nature, but it does exist to hold my tea. That's dependent arising. And if something, so that's one point. The second one is when you understand the words, it arises in dependence upon, it exists in dependence upon its parts, for example. You hear me? A cup exists in dependence upon its parts. So the word is dependence. Well, emptiness means there is no independent cup there. So there being no independent cup is equivalent to there being a dependent cup. They're equivalent right there. So instead of saying inherent, say dependent. They mean the same. Everything is existing. Everything is empty of existing independently. Ego thinks there's a cup there that's independent of its parts. But emptiness says it's a dependent cup. It's dependent upon its parts. So emptiness is dependent, and this is, do you see what I'm saying? The two words, so say, instead of inherent, say dependent. And they mean the same thing. You bring them together. Do you hear that? That's a good way to do it. Go on. What else before we finish? I mean, this can get very exciting. We go on about it, it's all intellectually exciting, go blah, 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 become scholars and wank in our heads, forgive me. It's really important to see it practically. It's really important to see it experientially every day and try and apply it that way, Go on, Don. What?
No, I'm just thinking that it must take,
I can't hear you, darling.
it must take an incredible amount of merit, obviously, to be able to see these
things. I know exactly it
the
does. Isn't it?
the unification of
That's right.
of inherent existence
That's right.
and dependent arising.
The biggest one with the inherent existence is to stop the habit of saying, oh, well, it's all empty, it doesn't matter. That's nihilism. It's a total misconception. Because in fact, saying it's empty means it exists.
Right.
Remember, just keep saying that too. That brings them together, not separate. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Let's finish. That's the 6 perfections. We did a little bit of the 6 perfections in a very casual way, not in a deep way. Can't do that. Not qualified. And we think how, if anything, we remember it. It's all gone in anyway. It's all gone in the mind. There's nothing that's ever left the mind. It's all retained in our memory. So that's good. And we've also sown seeds, So with our motivation from the beginning, we're going to listen to think about the stuff so we can become an enlightened being. Or become oneness with Krishna, whatever you prefer. When you die or whatever. Nothing wrong, whatever you want. And just here, we want to become our own Buddha. Become, in a sense, okay, one more point. When you're Buddha, see what he thinks of this, Kyle. In the Buddhist view, we could argue there's the term they use in Sanskrit for the Buddha mind is Dharmakaya, okay? Dharmakaya. And then the body is the Rupakaya, and they're combined together. So the Buddhist view would be, everybody has the potential for their mind to become the Dharmakaya. But there's not a million Dharmakayas all floating around, bumping into each other. When you become the Dharmakaya and I become the Dharmakaya, honey child, we're the same Dharmakaya. So maybe that's similar a bit to what you people say. But you don't come oneness with Krishna, do you? Okay, always separate. Okay, that's it. That's the Christians as well. That's right. But the Buddha says each person becomes their own Buddha, but finally we're the same Buddha. That's how we say it. Okay, so have that aspiration, if that's your aspiration, or whatever Kyle wants, he may have. Very welcome. And we think, so why are we doing that? Because that's our potential. And on the way there, we learn to develop wisdom and we develop compassion and empathy with others, one step at a time, doing our best, okay? Changchub semchogram poche, ma kie panam ke guchig, kie panyampa me payang gong ne gondu, pabasho gewadi nyudu dag, lama sangi drubgyone, droa chikyang marupa, de sala gapashok. And I think it'd be nice to say the prayer for the swift return of Lama Zopa. Should we do that? We just sing the prayer. Have you got a screen somewhere, you people? No, there's not. Can we just someone read it? You read it, sweetheart. Read the prayer for His Holiness and read the prayer for Lama Zopa's swift return. Oh, okay, go on then. So turn to the page and say the prayers in English. Each one. Prayer for His Holiness to live long. He says until he's 120 or 130, so may he live long. And then Lama Zopa to come back quickly and bless us with his smile.
In the land encircled by snow mountains, you are the source of all happiness and good. All powerful Chenrezig Tenzin Gyatso, please remain until samsara ends. Peerless teacher and inside back cover. Peerless teacher and assembly of the children of the victorious ones, Shravakas and Prateka Buddhas, victorious Lozong father and sons, along with the lineage masters, all the objects of refuge of the infinite lands, please bestow the virtue and goodness of accomplishing this prayer here and now. Holding and spreading the Muni's precious and complete teachings through explanation and practice, you are the armor of patience that is never discouraged. Incomparable, venerable Guru, to you I make requests. While striving single-pointedly for the sake of the victorious one's teachings, the sole gateway through which all benefit and happiness emerge, and from other living beings, you suddenly departed to peace. What a great loss. Nevertheless, through the undeceiving truth of the blessings of the ocean of the three jewels and the great waves of bodhicitta of the children of the victorious ones, may the smile of a reincarnation swiftly beam in glory for fortunate disciples. And now the long life prayer for Venerable Robina on the sheets here. Okay, thank you, Venerable.
Please, one.
Mother of the victorious ones of the 3 times and 10 directions, Dharmakaya, the great bliss, embraced by great compassion, my perfect Arya Tara, who in ordinary form are the guide for us pitiful transmigrating beings left guideless, how kind you are. May all your wishes be instantly fulfilled, and may your life be stable until samsara ends. Okay, and now the short mandala offering.
What?
Mandala offering.
Oh, good. Okay, good. Okay, that's short one, short one.
Yes.
Okay, good. So visualize offering the universe and Buddha happily receives our gift. How amazing. Come on, people, sing.
Saji puki juk shing me tok ram ri rab ling ji ni de gen pa di sangye jing du mik te u wai dro kunam dak shing la chu pa shog Jetsun lame kuche brakten ching nam katrin le chok chur ge padang lo zang ten pe dren me sa sungi Drowe mun sel tak tu ne gyur chig. Idam guru ratnam mandalakam niryatayami.
See their offering. Okay, that's it. We're done for this year, done for the day, done for the month. It's nearly 30. I think next year, when was it I first came, Robbie? Do you remember? 97 or 96? Do you remember? When did you move into that place? The basement. Oh, okay. I think it was 96 when I came. So it's nearly 30 years. When did you and I first meet? Oh, I thought it was later. I thought it was earlier. Oh, no, it's not then. No, darling, when did you first meet me? Oh, I thought it was 97. Oh, anyway, I first came here in 97. When was it, Don? You remember? So no, I went to the prison. That prison, that's why in North, they took photos. Oh, that was 2000. They took the pictures in the prison in the photo. What? What year? There you go. So it's nearly 30 years since I've been coming. All right. A long time. 30 more. Well, I'm just, that's right. I know. It's possible. Geshe Gelek said you have to be enthusiastic and determined. So I'm determined. I'll live at least another 15, 95, okay? Okay, and then I told Robbie, once I'm 95, he can carry my bags for me.
Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 Padme Hum. Om Mani 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 Padme Hum. Mani Padme Hum. Om 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 Mani Padme Hum. Okay. Mani Padme Hum. Om 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 Mani Padme Hum.
Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Mani Padme Hum. Om 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 Mani Padme Hum.
Shall we do a group photo, Venerable? A group photo? Okay. Group photo, come on up, everyone. Oh, and before I forget, apparently there's some keys were left in the women's bathroom. So if you are missing your keys, they might be in the women's bathroom.